Welcome back to Nick Lenz's Comic Corner Classic / Non-Classic. This is episode number 503 and Doubleshot number 414. Okay, I have one DC trade and one Marvel trade to do. Okay, first one, basically I've wanted to do this for some time and I finally got this thing. Superman, the final days of Superman. All 6 issues are written by Peter Tomasi, with artwork by, and this of course by various different artists: Ed Baines, Dale Eaglesam, Scott Eden, Mike Carjan, Jorge Jimenez, Doug Mackey, and Paul Felipe. This, simply put, is the end of the New 52 Superman, or at least I like to call him the post-Flashpoint Superman. Yep. This basically is the storyline where he dies. Yep. Yeah. I finally get a chance to talk about this thing. Now, this book contains the entire storyline, which is Superman, Volume 3 issues 51-52, Action Comics, Volume 2 issues 51-52, Batman Superman number 31-32, and Superman Wonder Woman 28-29. Yep. And basically it's revealed because of stuff. Now, apparently these 3 events basically are the reasoning that because all these massive things mentioning the reasoning for his dying. And these events are the Darkseid War, Savage Dawn, that's the story right here, and the bottom right here, that's the storyline of, well, from Brian Hitch's Justice League America. So yep, this is from Jeff Johns Justice League. This is from the crossover that came just before this thing. And you have this. So these 3 major storylines are kind of the reasoning for him dying. And plus they do reference Jeff Johns' basically first and only arc he did for this volume of this series. The storyline Men of Tomorrow. Yep. So I mean, the way that the storyline is implying is that before Superman lost his powers, he fought Darkseid. He did participate in Darkseid War, and then came Savage Dawn, and then like right after that, it's implied that right after that was just like America's storyline. I don't know what the reorder is for Superman when it comes to that, but yeah, I'm glad of the fact they referenced, well, one really good storyline, one pretty decent storyline in my honest opinion, that's why I really like it, and one really bad story. A story of good artwork, but terrible writing, because Brian Hitch could not do a good job with a good story. And I'm very happy the fact he's off the main Justice League book. Yeah. One thing nice you can say about this particular storyline, aside from the fact that Superman dies, and of course he gets to briefly meet his pre-Flashpoint counterpart, along with Lois and John. And of course, basically, this is on the cover. It says Road to Rebirth. Yeah, this is actually one of 2 Superman series you gotta read before you read Superman Rebirth. The other, of course, is Superman Lois and Clark, which I have done a review of that series. It was really good, by Dan Jurgens and Lee Weeks. Yep. Which that series was a continuation of Converge's Superman. Yep. But this series does introduce a new character, Dr. Omen, who becomes a regular character in the pages of New Superman. So you can kind of say that this storyline set up that particular series for Superman, which is still continuing, and I think it was going to be planning on chopping block, but because I think of the most recent issues that the series released, that it's not going to get canceled anytime soon. Yep. I know the storyline basically has been negated thanks to Superman Reborn, but it's still a good story. Yep. And it makes you, when you read the story, basically, even people who didn't like New 52 Superman that very much, like longtime fans of Superman, as far as I know, they really love this story. It's not terrible. I actually thought Savage Dawn was okay. It was a pretty decent story. This, I definitely think is a pretty good story for what it is. Of course, there is a couple storylines that came out, like there were like 2 unpublished issues of Superman Wonder Woman and Batman Superman that take place directly before this particular event happen. Yep. Though I kind of wish those storylines. Now, if these issues were just published in this only trade, I wouldn't have a problem with it. My problem is basically this, is that the final trades that collect issues from these series, well, these particular volumes, were Superman, Action Comics, Batman, Superman, and Superman, Wonder Woman, had to throw in these issues in there. Which, in my honest opinion, is completely unnecessary. You don't need to do that at all. Just have it all in one trade. Yeah, this is, in my opinion, one of the biggest problems with the New 52 trades, is the fact that not only they have the regular story arc, basically the main series, they have their like a couple parts of a crossover in there for no reason. For Superman, it was one of his biggest problems with his trades. It's like he just read 2 parts and he just read a text recap. That's really it. And they did this with Doom, Savage Dawn, and this storyline. Though these 3 stories are not the only ones they did it for. They also did it for the Culling. I'm trying to think, what other storylines did it for? Cross the ones. Night of Owls doesn't count because those are self-contained stories. They're not exactly connected to each other. What do you think? Yeah, just those particular 4 stories are the only ones I can personally. Oh yeah, they also did it for Blight as well. Yeah, Blight was simply the same way, where they put in parts of like a small, like in the case of Sleep Dark, I think they put in like 4 parts of that, at least 5 parts, like pretty much the entire thing for Just Like Dark. Like there's a whole trade for Just Like Dark where it collects nothing but the tie-ins for the parts for Blight. They did the same thing with pretty much all the series that basically part of that crossover. Not only Just Like Dark, but Constantine, Trinity St. Pandora, and Trinity St. Panda Stranger. So pretty much 5 crossovers DC did this, where aside from the standalone trade that collects them, the series that collect the storyline they just had the photos in there, which, in my honest opinion, terrible idea. And I guess DC must have heard the complaints about that, so as of currently, DC has stopped doing that, which thank God they have. Like in the case of Night Monster Man, for example. The issues having that crossover, are they in the next trades for each of those 3 series? Or at least in the case of Nightwing in the first trade? No. They skip over those. For a good reason. Yeah. I do appreciate the fact that DC did that. And like, if you're gonna read, like, I think DC should, at least for some of these trade series, either cut down one trade, or like in the case of Action Comics, just cut out the last trade and just have it ended with the Truth arc, or at least the arc that came just before Savage Dawn, and then all you need is just a Savage Dawn trade and this one. Same thing with Superman. You just need one. You just need to cut down that one by 1 trade. For Batman, Superman, just take out the issues that tie into this crossover, and just have the issues they were supposed to have, and just have the, for in the case of that series, the 3 issues of just have the 3 issues of the Tom Taylor storyline, plus the unpublished issues. Same thing with Superman. Just have the arc that came just before that, before Savage Dawn, and then just collect the unpublished issues. That's really what we need to do with that. Yeah. So yeah, that's what DC should have done, but I'm not DC. I'm not on the committee who puts these trades together. But my guess is that because of all the complaints they've gotten about how the trades are put together, my guess is the idiot must have come with the idea of just they throw like everything in the trade, despite the fact it makes no freaking sense. So, yeah. But this trade is good. I give this trade a 9 out of 10. It's a good storyline too. Great artwork as well. And the Great 10 show up in there as well. Yep. As far as I know, I think this is their first post-Flashpoint appearance, as far as I can tell. Yeah. Next up is this big, heavy book. Thor, God of Thunder, Volume 2. So we're thinking, Thor God of Thunder Volume 2. Does that mean he collects the God Bomb storyline? Nope. This is a hardcover. Yep. This one collects the last 2 trades. It's like they take the last 2 trades released for that collect this series and just combine it to one. Basically, this contains issues 12 to 25, the last 14 issues of the series, and according to the Thor numbering, basically released with that card that came out when Thor was celebrating a 700th issue. These are issues 655 to 668. That's simply what these issues are, according to the Thor numbering. Now you have first start up with a standalone issue, which is basically the cover of this thing, of Thor returning to Earth after the whole God Bomb storyline, reuniting with Jane Foster, finding out she has got cancer, and plus the issue is also the first appearance of Ross Solomon. Yep, it's her first ever appearance. As far as I know, it's first appearance, though she doesn't come back until the second to last arc that's in here, second to last storyline that's in here. It's a good storyline. Next, of course, is the League of Realms, which takes up at least 4 issues. And this storyline, and a lot of people basically hypothesize why this storyline existed. For one reason. To basically be a tie-in promotion for Thor the Dark World. And there's a very good reason why. Because the fact the main villain of Thor the Dark World appears in this very story. And as far as I know, he I looked it up. This is actually his first appearance since the first volume of Heroes for Hire. Yep. Let's see, where is he? Here he is. Malekith the Accursed, making his first appearance at this point. I think it was the first time in almost 20 years since this guy last showed up, and he's a classic Thor villain that Walt Simonson created back in the 80s. And I gotta praise Jason Aaron for bringing this guy back. You know something really weird about this? After the storyline wrapped up, his next appearance was an Iron Man of all things, in the Rings of the Mandarin storyline. I'm not kidding. The second to last arc of Kieran Gillian's run, that's the next appearance of Malekith. I bet that Edgar's sort of like, when he reads that, sort of like, why in the world is Malekith even here for? Yeah. Even I basically question, like, why in the world would Kieran Gillian bother to use this guy? But yeah, I mean, Jason Aaron, up until, I'd say, very recently, very heavily used this guy, Malekith, and the guy who made his debut in issue 19, which we'll get to in a minute. And of course, they do bring back the League of Realms after the storyline basically wrapped up. They actually brought it up in the arc that came right after Gods of Midgard. Yep, and the members are here's the League of Realms. Sir Ivory Honeyshot of the Light Elves, Screwbeard of the Dwarves, that's he's a Light Elf. Organminder, Dragalorth, Vesibus, I think this is the 16th, and Ood the Troll. Yep. These guys are the original League of Realms. Now, when they brought these characters back in the third arc of the recent Mighty Thor run before Return to Astonishing Numbering, it's pretty much the same lineup, except they took out the original Thor, took him out, and they added female Thor, Ross Solomon, and Lady Sif. Oh, and they also added Angela to that storyline, which awesome. Yep, and this storyline was really, really good. Oh yeah, and they also had one other person, Lady Wisdra of the Dark Elves, and they actually just introduced in this very issue. And it's also implied in this storyline that she and Thor kind of started a relationship, but doesn't really go anywhere. Basically, at the end of the storyline, Malekith is declared the new king of the Dark Elves, and basically later Wizards basically declare proxy, and she has to basically resume his sentence because he escaped from prison. Yep. And then right after that we have a standalone story with Thor fights Dragon. Yep. And then we have the really awesome storyline, Last Days of Midgard, which has my favorite cover in it. And also the return of a villain that that was killed off by the previous writer. What was his name? Oh yeah. He was killed off by Matt Fraction. But yeah, here's Rod Solomon of this gorgeous artwork. Yeah, I gotta praise his artwork. Oh, and that guy here? This guy's the main villain of the story. That's Dagger Agnar. Yeah, he's basically a new villain that basically Jason Aaron introduced in this particular arc. And he remains a villain up until recently. Currently, this guy is serving time in jail. Finally, he took it to the Lords of Midgard store and finally bring this guy back. And plus, we also get a chance to see future Thor by Galactus. Yep. Oh, we don't get a chance to see him fully in this story, probably because different artists, but yeah. And here, and this is what Dagner, let's see, what's his name? Yeah, basically the CEO of Raxon turns into this, a Minotaur. Yep. Oh, in case you're wondering, does Malekith fight this guy later on? Yes, he does. And he's like, "You're not the first Minotaur I've taken on." Which I thought was so hilarious. Yeah, but there is one villain. I'm a little surprised they brought him back, but yeah, they did. As a matter of fact, he's even in the cover of the next issue. And it's Yudok, the troll. Yep, this is the guy who was the fake poses as a fake god of thunder. Now, last I saw this guy was killed by Thor in the second arc of the Mighty Thor series. And I'm like, how the heck this guy come back? Because last I saw this guy, he was dead. And here's my favorite cover of the storyline, issue 22. This right here is my favorite cover of this entire, of all these 25 issues. This is my favorite cover because yeah, this is basically the art style that could have basically been the covers, but this artist only stays on for this issue. I think he just does 2 issues. I have to look it up here. Yeah, he just does this 1 issue. Yep. And of course, also the end of the storyline. It ends the whole thing with Braxon. Yep, Braxon is like, after being part of the Thor mythos, excuse me, at this point for at least 5 years, my guess is that I guess Jason Aaron wanted to just have a proper retirement of the setting, just have Asgard just go someplace else, doesn't have to hang out around Braxton for very long. Yeah, Braxton was basically just, the whole town was destroyed. Like if Noah was killed. But, I thought this was so funny. It's like, yeah, she's calling Phil Coulson, who does make appearances in here, and he's like, yo, Agent Coulson, I'm killing trolls here. I've killed like 12 trolls. And then she's like, 13, 14. It's like she's killing trolls like crazy because the town got invaded by trolls. Which is probably the most hilarious thing I've ever seen. This is a woman who's an environmentalist, and she's killing trolls. Which, that's badass. Yep. And of course, the last issue is just a setup for basically the relaunch of this thing with the female Thor. I should point out, though, that between 24 and 25, there is actually a publication gap. For about, I think it's about 2 months. I think it's like 2 or 3 month publication gap, and there's a reason for this. Because this series, along with Loki Age of Asgard, was put in hiatus for a few months because of a tie-in to Original Sin called Thor and Loki, The 10th Realm, which is written by Jason Aaron and Al Ewing. Which, in that storyline, revealed that Thor and Loki have a sister, Angela. which you gotta praise him for having a sister who's drop dead gorgeous and a redhead to top off that. Yep. But these issues are awesome. I give this a 10 out of 10. And if you want a good start to Jason Aaron run for Thor, I recommend checking out the first volume of this thing, which is the first 11 issues, and then get this book, and then get the recent Thor books that he's done from 2014 onwards. Yep. So 10 out of 10. This is awesome. And from what I've heard, and I can definitely tell by reading this, Jason Aaron is a huge fan of Thor. Despite what some people think that he might not be a fan of Thor, he is a fan of Thor. And he's been doing this now for 5 years. 5 years he's writing Thor. And this series, this particular run, Thor God Thunder series, is where he got his start. I mean, he's lasted longer than even Matt Fraction or Dan Jurgens. He's probably one of the longest writers since Walt Simonson, which God praise him for that. And he even wrote the 700th issue, which was awesome, by the way. I give that issue a 10 out of 10. It was amazing. Yep. But yeah. Thor God Thunder, 10 out of 10. Amazing book, and I highly recommend getting this, or if you want to go cheaper, get the 4 trades. It's an awesome series. Yeah. Oh, in the past, Thor, he uses his axe, which is currently what he's using now because he doesn't have his hammer anymore. Though, some people are saying the hammer is going to go back to him really soon in the next couple issues of the series. Okay? So, that's it for this video. Stay tuned for episode number 504 and Doubleshot number 415, where I'm going to talk about 2 Spider-Man traits. Okay? Until you see our next episode. Bye.